movie was made just right after the releasing of Bullet in the Head. Since Bullet in the Head was a big disaster, I mean, in both review and box office was failure. People didn't like it, and people feel a lot of pain by watching it. You know. And we have got a lot of bad reviews, and I was so depressed, extremely depressed. You know, and because I gave my heart, you know, for the movie. You know, I spent a lot of energy and thought, you know, trying to make the most personal film in my life, you know. But the people didn't appreciate it, you know. So and also I overheard that, you know, the people just didn't want to see another tragic, and they didn't feel any hope, you know, from the film. And they also thought that, you know, I was a depressing person, you know. So that's that made me wanted to make a film and try to let the people know I have great passion about life. I have great passion about friendship, you know, family, you know, that kind of thing. So that's why I wanted to make a comedy. And by the meantime, so we have to make a movie for the Chinese New Year's release. Because for the Chinese New Year's is the big thing for the Hong Kong people. You know, everybody will go to the theater, you know, and it usually make a lot of money. You know, so and everybody wanted to see a happy movie in a happy Chinese New Year. You know, so but we have short of time. You know, so but we have to make it fast. You know, means that we have to make a fast movie, like a fast food movie, you know, and you know. So and then and I also wanted to make myself happy, you know, because since I have a great disappointment about the reaction for the Bullet in the Head, you know, I just wanted to make myself happy. And then at the same time, my good friend Zhao Yanfan, Leslie Chang, you know, they came up to me, they comforted me, and they even encouraging me to make a comedy, you know, because they really care about me, you know. And then so we came together, and we wanted to make a happy film. So and then by the meantime, I tried to make a film as a tribute to the movie I loved, and a filmmaker I had great admire, you know, like François Truffaut, you know, and a lot of great, you know, the French New Wave filmmakers, you know. So that's why I came up with the story is that maybe. To make a movie like François Truffaut's Joe and Jim, you know, and then try to create a very, you know, an unusual relationship in between, you know, the two men and a woman, you know. So and then their friend and their partners and their lover and their and then they also have find a lot of fun in life, you know. So that's there was the idea, and by the other hand, I really get bored, you know, shooting making a movie in Hong Kong, because there was not much of a special location, you know, to make a movie, and there's too many people, too many noise, and there not much beautiful landscape. You know, I wanted something new, something which I have never done before, or the audience have never seen before in Hong Kong film. You know, so and since I had a great admire of the French culture, the French movies, you know, so you know, so I came up with the idea to make up a story which happened in France. At the beginning, so we didn't have a specific story, you know. We just had an idea. I said, I would say, okay, let's make a movie just like Joe and Jim. or the movie like How to Steal a Million, or the movie like Alfred Hitchcock's To Catch a Thief. It's a story about two good friends, with and they both in love with the same girls, and then they're going to do a job, and then okay, and then let's just say that and the story started in France, somewhere in France, and then like they are the art, like they are the professional thieves, they were stealing, painting, art, the kind of thing. So and then we were just had a rough idea of the whole film, because so we were short of time. We got to be rushed, and we didn't have much money, and we had to put it. Well, we only had the, kind of a medium budget for the film. So and then we are on the way to France, and then for the whole film. From the ideas, I mean, from the scratch to complete the whole thing, we only spent 2.5 months to finish to get it all done. It was my first time working with foreign crew members, and I was very impressed, especially working with the French people, But one funny thing I find, during the lunch times, I find that every table got to have a red wine, So, because it had never happened in Hong Kong, But the people, even though they drink wine, they all still did a great job, They were happy people, they're romantic people, At that time, I just wanted to make a romantic, elegant movies. I think the locations decide the tone of the movies. So it means while we were shooting in Nice, everything looks so elegant, so charming, and romantic, So that even though the dialogue was so nice, and then the relationship looked pretty much like a French film, So, after a month shooting in France, we had to move back to Hong Kong because of the budget, and we had to change location. So when we moved back to Hong Kong, it's all of a sudden we had the tone was so much different. I'm sure you can see from the movies, and it's all of a sudden we had to get into another style, and we have to make the movie just like the typical Hong Kong film. Have a lot of action. The rhythm was so different, and the pace was so fast, it looks completely different from the French part, I think the cinema photographer, Mr. Poon, Hang Seng Poon, he did a great job, and the production designer, they all came up with a lot of good ideas. But so while we are starting the movies, I just have one thing, talk to my DP and the production designer. I said I just like what I did in The Killer. I just want the whole movie look like in a European film. They said, I love France. I love London's. I love Munich. I love Spain. I just want the movie look like a European movie. I didn't tell them, what kind of color I like. So when I saw, when they showed me something, I said, oh, maybe a little bit like, have you seen a movie like Joe and Jim, and go to watch it, like that. And then when we are on location, when we find a house, I need to Even though some of the scene was shot in Hong Kong, I said, I need to find a house look pretty much like a French style. It's all white, and then a tall window, like this and that, And they had a hard time to find the location. Then, like I remember in The Killer, I talked to my whole crew, the movie is a tribute to Jean-Pierre Melville's movies, like a French movie. Okay, I need to find the house for Zhao Yunfei. It's a room, a French door, a French window, and then when the camera tracking through the window, we see him sitting inside the room in a chair and then tracking through the past the window, and then we cross cut to some of the guys, and then so they have a hard time to find a house, like the French house, because I was so crazy about the European film, when I was young, I just like when I'm making a film, so I just like making my dreams and also trying to make my memory come true. Like there are a lot of things I greatly admire from the West. I just wanted to make it happen. In a movie. No matter what kind of movie I make, it always have the darker sides of the character, So maybe it also was a part of my character. I always feel why do people have so many hate, so many trouble, for living together? Because it all because of a lack of understanding, and also there's a lot of misunderstanding in between people. So it's sometimes it causes a lot of pain. Sometimes it causes a lot of unnecessary, fighting. So and then I think for getting the people to more liking each other, is trying to find a way to understand each other more, So there was one of the concepts, for the Once a Thief, like the character like Leslie Cheung, so he wanted to do something, and he wanted to make a change, and he also wanted to change his life, But seems to be no one understood what he's thinking, what he do, So he feel lonely, kind of thing. And then as a contract, Chow Yun-Fat's character is much of a bigger than life. He's totally different from Leslie. He always happy. And always try to make the other people happy. It was quite a character. But in the meantime, he seems to didn't care about anything, but actually he did care. So I just try to make two different, extremely different character, But somehow they both play by fate. They have to work together and live together. The other thing was, just try to give the audience a little message. So it's we all should, try to find a way to understand each other and be happy. That's I believe in my instincts, So no matter what I decide, no matter what I should, I believe in it, So like when I'm designing the action sequence, usually based on the character and the story, is the action always is work for the drama, So it's not the individual thing. So when I'm designing an action sequence, I have to consider what make that kind of action happen. And like in Once a Thief, there's a lot of martial arts actions moment. So and then while we were on location. You know, I just came up with the idea. So okay, let's make fun with the martial art. You know, so we came up with some very interesting idea to let the Zhou Yunfan holding the stake. You know, fighting like Bruce Lee. You know, and also have made a lot of fun of it. But usually my kind of action is pretty emotional as well, and also sometimes even have some kind of a message. Like a movie I made, the Killer, April Tomorrow. You know, the Bullet in the Head. You know, all the actions was for reason. It's not only try to. I've never tried to please the audience. You know, I just try to make a good action sequence. Also the within the drama. You know, so and then sometimes it also depends on the actors. You know, if I'm working with Chow Yun-fat, you know, the action would be different. You know, since Chow Yun-fat's character, he's so sometimes he's so emotional, sometimes he's so funny. You know, so and then I would usually like to decide the actions is suitable for Chow Yun-fat and good for Chow Yun-fat, you know. And I also have the specialty for making a hero. I know how to make a hero. I know how to make my actors look great on the screen. Even though I'm working with John Travolta, Nicolas Cage, or even Ben Affleck, you know. So, and then I also, you know, know how to designing some things to make them look like a hero and look great, you know. So I think you know, the Chow Yun-fat, you know, Nick Cage and Ben Affleck and John Travolta, they were not action star, you know. You know, they're the real actors, you know. So the interesting is how to make the real actors become a hero, you know. You know, so it's that's a pretty interesting thing to do, you know. It means that mostly it all depends on the character, the style of the movies, you know. Like in Once a Thief, since it was a comedy, you know, so we could do whatever we want. You know? So we and actually a lot of actions idea was came up on a set, and we have the it had never decided in advance. So and then since Chow Yun-fat was a happy character, so I had decided some funny actions for him, you know.
喂，明唔明啊？好明啊！
Leslie, he gave me the impression he had such a great energy, and he also had a very beautiful body movement, you know. So and then then gave me the idea to design some actions look pretty much like a dancing for him, you know. So I had designed a scene while he's fighting with some bad guys on the dock. You know, so he's rolling on the ground and to avoid bullet hits, and then he get up and flip in the air, shooting, you know, and then he feel a lot of fun. When I saw the actors feel fun, you know, and happy to do an action, then it also will make me happy, and also will make me feel the action will work because the actor is very happy with it, you know. I also had a great experience of working with Julian, Remy Julians. the car stunt, the coordinator. He was such a great man. He had worked in several of James Bond movies, and he had helped me a lot, And since we only could afford a little money, for the car chase sequence, and he just and he didn't care, he just did it for us, he had designed all the action beats, and the chase, and all the car stunt, that and they also came up with a lot of good ideas. And tried to help to make the scene work. So it was so amazing. Chow Yun-fat is not only a fine actor, and he also is a real person. He's so real, and he's a man with great honor. So he also had a great passion about life, about people. And he do care about the others, and he do care about the world. So he usually like to give his his heart and his true experience and his true feeling into the character and the movies, and also feel his performance is so international. Like some people in the West, they when I just find out why the people love the killer, so much. They were so appreciate Chow Yun-fat's performance. I mean, it means they didn't need to understand the language, and they didn't need to understand the culture, but they could strongly involved with Chow Yun-fat's performance. They also could relate to Chow Yun-fat, So when they saw him, cry, I said, they all feel sad, when they saw him, laugh, they also will laugh at him, It means they find, Chow Yun-fat's performance so international. He really could touch every kind of people's heart, The other thing was he's a man with a great heart, I remember while we were on the set, if he see anybody, feel sick or feel unhappy, he would go up after them, to try to make them feel happy. If one of the worker, feel sick, he will like to, do the massage for them, or even massage their feet, try to make the blood circulation, run better, and try to make them feel, relaxed, He's that kind of people, And we also have find a lot of things in common, that Chow and I, we have a similar childhood, life experience. We also were start from the bottom. We have been struggled very hard to survive, to success, and then we have been suffering so many painful experience. We have been looked down by so many people, but we also like to show our guts, our dignity, on the screen, So we will never surrender. We have never give up, anything. We just tried very hard to prove ourselves, and then we put that kind of experience into our movies, So that's why I love to work with him. Lastly was my good friend, and I really admire him. So I even see him as my younger brother. I say he's such a great man. He's such a great, talented actor and singer. And actually, he had a great passion about life. Have a, I mean, I've never. The thing was, he had never let the people know his true feeling, and he always gave his best. He always gave his happiness for the others. He had never, and he's hiding, the sorrow and for himself. He had never let people know his pain, his unhappy thing. He always thinking for the others. So that's why I never know how he really feel. And then when we get together, he gave me the impression he was such a warm person. He had a great love of life. He loved people, he loved friends. So much self-confidence. So in most of the time, he liked to tell me his true experience. His even his story. Something like that. And then he had a great respect for me. Then he always he see me as his mentor. And he called me teacher, something like that. It was a happy character, but with a little bit of a sadness. So, and then so I think it will fail. I think that it was I think it was the true Leslie Chang at the time. I mean, he gave his happiness for the others, but he keep his sadness for himself. So and then we were good friends. So I remember one thing. So and when we after we moved over here, and then he came over promote one of his movie, and then me and my wife and Leslie have a lunch together in a hotel restaurant. And then we talked to each other nice, and he called my wife as also the teacher, something like that. Something. He was so nice, and then we just feel like we're talking with a good friend, and a good relative, thing. And all of a sudden, there was a earthquake. The whole building was shaking. He was so nervous. He was so nervous. And then me and my wife are both holding his hand. We all holding together, And then after the earthquake gone, and we were so nervous at that time. But turned out he tried to comfort us. He tried to say, John, and are you okay? And then. And then he's such a nice man, And then and then while I was in Hong Kong, I've never get enough money. I have trouble with my living because I didn't earn much. He always liked to help me and always wanted to give me a hand or something like that. And then he's such a very nice man. And then. That's one thing I've never forgot, is when we start, the first day we start shooting Paycheck, my movie, and it was in the 1st of April, and it was our first day, start shooting. uh, during the search, I was so busy and so crazy about so many things, and then during the shooting, is my partner Terry Cheng is that stand behind me silently, and then the other people they didn't talk to me much. I would feel so strange, and then when I shot the after I finished the scene, when we wrapped, and then Terrence came up to me and he told me the bad news. He said, John, it's a very sad thing happened. Leslie just uh, suicide, and he gave up his life. I was shocked, pain, and very sad. So I could never forget that day. Just right on the first day I started shooting the film, and then I heard that bad news. I was very sad. I tried to cry, but I had no tear because I couldn't believe it, because I didn't want to believe it. It was true. So since I was so sad, and by the meantime, in the script, of Paycheck, there was a female character called Leslie. So whenever I turned on the page, saw the name Leslie, that made me cry. So I asked the writer to change the name. Change her name to Maya or something like that, something. I just didn't want to see the name in the script. Because she's such a nice person. We have such a lot of good memory. So whenever I saw his name, I couldn't help myself, so I feel very sad, so I just, and then of course I remember, I just try to remember his good thing, how great we were, work together, and also I try to remember his song, his beautiful face, and a beautiful friendship, The message for once of theater is very simple. Love each other. And it's a very simple movie, But of course, there's a lot of interesting element in the film, like the relationship between the two men and the woman, the father and sons, and the bad guy, good guy, and especially it has so many different kind of action moment, it always, it also gave the audience a lot of different kind of excitement. But but it only had the very simple message, just love each other. That's good. Theater, and it usually make a lot of money, and everybody wanted to see a happy movie in a happy Chinese New Year, So, but we have short of time, So, but we have to make it fast, means that we have to make a fast movie, like a fast food movie, So, and then and I also wanted to make myself happy, because since I have a great disappointment about the reaction for the bullet in the head, I just wanted to make myself happy. The movie was made just right after the releasing of Bullet in the Head. Since Bullet in the Head was a big disaster, in both review and box office, didn't want to see another tragic, and didn't feel any hope, from the film. And they also thought that, I was a depressing person, So that's that made me wanted to make a film and try to let the people know I have great passion about life. I have great passion about friendship, family, the kind of thing. So that's why I wanted to make a comedy. And by the meantime, so we have to make a movie for the Chinese New Year's release. Because for the Chinese New Year's is the big thing for the Hong Kong people. Everybody will go to the. And then at the same time, my good friend Zhao Yanfan, Leslie Chang, they came up to me. They comforted me, and they even encouraging me to make a comedy. Because they really care about me. And then so we came together, and we wanted to make a happy film. So and then by the meantime, I tried to make a film as a tribute to this was fairer. People didn't like it, and people feel a lot of pain by watching it. And we have got a lot of bad reviews, and I was so depressed, extremely depressed, and because I gave my heart, for the movie, I spent a lot of energy and thought, trying to make the most personal film in my life, but the people didn't appreciate that, So and also I overheard that the people just